Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to create the best about section on your LinkedIn. I will teach you the perfect structure for your about section. I will show you examples of very good and not good about section. Then I will show you the do's and don'ts of your about section. This video is for you if you are trying to get a job on LinkedIn, or you're a freelancer trying to get gigs on LinkedIn, or you're already employed but you just want to create the best LinkedIn profile. This video is for you. Now let's go. Now let's talk about the structure of your about section. There are 5 parts in the structure of your about section. The first one is the hook. The second one is what you do. The third is your process or unique approach. The third is who you work for. The fourth is the list of your skills or achievements. And the last is your call to action. If you miss one of these, you may not get the best results on LinkedIn from your profile. Okay, now let's talk about the hook. The hook is the first thing that they see when they come to your profile, and is what they see before they click on see more. So it's called the hook because it will determine if the person on your LinkedIn profile will click the see more link here to see the rest of the profile. So it means your hook should be catchy or controversial. Okay, your hook should be catchy, enticing, or controversial. If you take a look at the example here, see what I said here. Now normally a lot of people think to get a lot of results from content you need to create a lot of blogs, but I said something different. I said you don't need more than 100 blogs. Okay, and there's something else I did. I called out my target reader. So my target clients is founders and marketers. In my video on the LinkedIn foundations, I explained what your ICP is. Okay, if you want to learn more about that, check the link in the description or the video showing on the top right corner for the link to that video. So I mentioned them. So if the person on my profile is a founder or a marketer, his attention will be drawn. Then I added something that is catchy, controversial, or enticing. Okay, so I made a bold statement here. So this hook works because it calls attention. And let's move to the next part. The next part is what you do. Now, for a perfect example of how that is implemented, let me take you to another profile. Okay, what you do. Now look at this example. This is a perfect example of what you do. So this is what Joshua does. A quick bullet list of what he does. You see, simple, clean, no elaborate explanation or too many words. Then the next thing is your process. So Joshua listed his process. You see the clean, simple list of his processes, and he mentioned his qualifications, right? Then who he works for. That's the next one. Remember. So he mentioned who he works for. He works for software-based businesses to make simple content and documentation. Okay. Then the next one is who he is. This section talks about the skills he has. This section covers the skills and or achievements section. Then the last part is the call to action. Okay. So this profile is a perfect example. Is a good example of how your about section should be structured. Simple and straight to the point. Now yes, let me show you some do's and don'ts of your about section. Number 1, don't have very long sentences or paragraphs. You see Joshua's one is simple and clean and it's easy to read, right? Now I'm going to show you an example of a terrible summary that has lots of words that you can't understand. So Joshua has a simple, clean structure, not very long sentences, paragraphs are not very long. Then the other thing is, don't use third person. So Joshua use I. Some people use third person. I'm going to show an example of a third person approach to writing summary that you should not do. Okay, then you see Joshua used the first person I. He used simple sentences, used clean paragraphs, and it is easy for the visitor to the profile to read. And also, the text are not the paragraphs are not text heavy. The text blocks are simple and clean and easy to read. Now let me show you another example of a really good about section. Okay, so this is Samuel's LinkedIn summary about section, and you see he starts with what he does. I help SMEs create websites that they are not just visually appealing but true brand and marketing assets. Okay, so something that is good here is it calls his targets ICP here. I mentioned what he does. What is missing here is a hook, but it is okay because even this statement of what he does doubles as a hook. The same thing applies to Joshua's profile. He did not have a hook, but his statement of what he does doubled as a hook. He also said that Joshua called out the people he works with. Okay, so this is okay. Okay, so let's take a look at another profile. Another very good profile is this. Let's take a look at this. So this is the profile of somebody that is already employed and working, and you see how he wrote the profile. He organized the profile. Okay, so sorry, the summary section. You see how you organize the summary section. Okay, you see what he did here? Very simple, and he added a call to action, right? So the call to action is always very important. He added a list of his qualification and skills. He mentioned what he does. Yeah, worked with many different companies, rules of them. He mentioned what he does here. Okay, now let's take a look at another one. Okay, so now let's take a look at some not very good summary so you know what to avoid. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So this is David's profile. David's profile is David's summary. So this is David's summary. David's summary follows our structure, part of our structure, what I do. It gives some information about why it's important, rest of them, but it doesn't have a call to action. Okay, it doesn't explain this. It doesn't talk about his achievements and skills. It doesn't talk about if there's something unique that he brings to the process that he uses in creating brand. All right. So one thing David can add there is a CTA, a mention of what is unique about his process, and maybe and also a mention of his skills and achievements. Let's take a look at Esther's profile. First of all, Esther starts by mentioning her name. We already know her name from her profile, so there's no need for that. Okay, that is one of the problems. The second problem is it's hard to read. Though she mentioned what she offers, who she works for, why does she work with her, and a call to action, which follows our structure, right? But she used her paragraphs are just too text heavy. Okay, what she can do is to split them out, add more spaces between lines, use shorter sentences and shorter paragraphs to make it easy to read. So that's what Esther can do in her summary section here. Once she does that, her summary section, about section looks okay and good to go. Now this is Eroturu Nimi's LinkedIn summary section. I believe you already know the problem with this. Too text heavy, right? Too text heavy, and also there's no structure to this. There's no structure of what she does, what she does it for, her unique process, or any clean structure of what she's looking for. And there's no call to action. Okay, so what a rotary can do is to lay it as properly, lay out her information properly using the simple structure that I've explained, add a call to action, and add a lot of spaces between paragraphs and sentences. Use short sentences and short paragraph, mostly sentences that are a quarter of the width of the line, just like Samuel and Joshua did. Now let's look at Ricome's. Let's look at Ricome's profile. So what do you think is wrong with Rico's profile from our structure? So I think number one, there's no call to action. These paragraphs are too heavy. Okay, and he has a list of his experiences. He's telling a story, but I think he can lay it out in an easier to read manner, and also our structure can help him accomplish that. Then let's look at another profile by this is Uneka's profile. Let's take a look at our about section. So what is the problem with this about section? I believe you know already. This is just a huge heap of content that may not be enticing to read. Look at it, just a huge heap from one section to another. So Uneka can do better by using our structure, number one, by using shorter sentences, smaller paragraphs, and a lot of white spaces to make it easier to read. Now let's look at one last one, then we'll be done for this video. So what is the problem with Ayo's summary about section? I think number one, the first one I see here is writing in the third person. Okay, so you're supposed to use the first person, then use every other structure and idea that we have shared. So this is just a quick rundown of what you should do in your summary about section, what you should not do, how to structure it, and the do's and don'ts of summary section. If you want to learn more about how to create your LinkedIn profile, click on the video on the left hand, subscribe so when I publish new videos you get notified. Thank you.